Okay, I'm first going to define religion as I'm going to be using it in this interview. Religion is a group of people working together as a community in the journey through life with God as their center, and their belief in who that God is important to them, and they pretty much believe look at God in the same way. Now, in order to express that in a community, you have to be able to be free. And when I define free, I mean that there is nobody who is going to hold you accountable or in any way impede you to express that religious belief or your belief in God in any way. And therefore, in order for that community to worship, which is very much a part of religion, there has to be that ability to gather without any kind of threat of any kind of punishment that might be imposed upon them from outside authority. Okay, the number 2 you said, what would you say that being an American is equally important as freedom of religion? I'm not quite sure how those two fit together, because freedom of religion simply means that you live out your belief in who your God is for you. Now, if that happens to be in America, then you do it as an American. I'm not quite sure how you are defining what it means to be an American. If you are speaking of being an American who has the rights and the freedoms as they have been defined in our Constitution, then we live by those beliefs. And I do believe that one of those amendments has to do with religion, freedom of speech especially, or freedom of expression, not just speech, that, then they are equal to another, and perhaps not only being equal to another, but working with one another. Okay, then number 3 was, what kind of a sister are you, and what are your beliefs? Okay, I will define myself as, first of all, being my expression of my religion is from the Catholic perspective. I was born into a Catholic family. That is the religious beliefs that my parents handed down to me, and I grew up in them. And as I grew into an adult, I could see more and more that what my parents had given to me adds to and extends my life, that I can reach out to other people, that there is an inner peace and happiness within myself as I express myself in being a Catholic. Then, when you ask what kind of a sister are you, well, I'm 2 kinds. I have 2 siblings who are my sisters, my blood sisters. Okay, that's one kind of a sister. But I do believe that you are asking in the context of a religious woman as a sister. And that indeed I am, which means I have a very special lifestyle that I live. Community is very important to me as my lifestyle. And I am indeed a Franciscan, which means that I follow the beliefs and the way of life that St. Francis of Assisi lived. They are very important to me. He was very close to nature. And being a farm girl, nature was always very important to me. And his simplicity of living was always very attractive to me, and that is one of the reasons why I joined a Franciscan community. I do believe that my strongest belief is that God, whoever God is for you, is a loving God, and that his love for people, all people, overflows from the very fact that he has created all people, and that the only life that is existing is the life of God, and the life of God equals love. And I truly believe that God loves his creation, all of creation, the plants, the animals, the rocks, the stars, the sun, whatever he has created is an act of love on his part. And as the human beings who he has created, I truly believe that we are all people are created in the image and likeness of God. And I believe that God has given us a free will for us to make choices, and how we make choices is demonstrated by how we live. But no matter what choices we make, God's love is never receded. God's love is always there. It is we who make the choices, and therefore we who are the ones who will take the consequences. Okay, and then you ask, what is the difference between a nun and a sister? Well, number one, we're both part of a religious community, and I'll go with a nun first. That means that these are women who have dedicated their life to God, but they live in a secluded kind of lifestyle, which means they are not out among God's people serving them directly, but rather they spend a lot of time in reflection, prayer, delving into the scriptures, celebrating Eucharist, being very much in touch with the prayer life of the church. Nuns, of course, are of Catholic belief. Then as a sister, it follows pretty much the same pattern, other than I am out among God's people, I am serving God's people, but indeed I do live in community. I take vows of poverty, obedience, and consecrated celibacy. So I guess the biggest difference between a nun and a sister is how we serve God's people, whether it's to reflection and prayer, or whether it's to being out there active, using the gifts that God has given us. And then your last question, do you believe America is the best place to practice religion? Well, I guess I'm going to be very limited on that because I am no traveler. I want to hear stories of other countries, and some of the places where what you believe, as we say, you pay the price, which means there's some kind of persecution going on because you believe in a God. I have heard of other places in the world in which God seems to have been lost. People no longer believe in God, and God is no longer the center of their world. But again, those are only things that I hear about. All I can say is that I, as being born and lived in America, have always been free to practice my religion, to live my religion, without any threat or without any kind of obstacles being put in my way. And I want to thank Jordyn and Grace for inviting me to share myself with you. Thank you.